Hey, what's up everyone? In this video, we're going to look at assigning custom cover images even to listings that don't have a cover image configured within the listing type. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in. What we're looking at here on my screen is the upcoming Canvas starter site, and specifically for the expert listing type, which you see here on my screen. It is configured so there is actually no cover image, no cover area even. It's set to none. So let's look at that. And before we look at the front end visualization, so editing our listing type for the expert, and we click into single page, and then we see here that our cover style is set to none. Okay, so literally no cover style. It's just gonna shrink up that that area where their logo is, if they have one, tagline, their title, and things like that. Okay, you can see that right here in the preview. If I switch this over to cover image, you see how that grows. It shows you with this placeholder image that something's going to go in there. Or if I do a slider, it shows you the preview. There's going to be multiple images across the screen. But we have this set to none, okay? So on the front end, when you click into this expert listing type, an expert listing, we see here we've got just this gray box back here. This is not the end of the world, in my opinion, based on how I have the colors design configured for the design on this. It's not the end of the world. I think it looks okay with the the black and then the dark gray and then the light gray and the white. I think that's kind of a cool transition. But for those that want to add a little more flair to this, maybe put your branding in there. That's what I'm going to show you how to do right now, and it couldn't be easier. So what I started off with was I jumped over into Canva and I created this this cover image, if you will, right? So it's got the branding of the website in the top left corner and the bottom right corner. And then I've got the name of the site kind of centered. I've got it positioned just right. And then I've got it faded with transparency so it doesn't dominate the screen when it pops up on there. We don't want that to be the focal point, but it gives us some branding here with the name of the site and then branding here on the left and right with our colors, okay? So I took some time, I created that, played with it a little bit and got the layout just right. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be assigning this to the desktop version only, okay? Because on mobile, we don't, spaces that are premium, we don't need this big cover image coming in, if you will. Also on mobile, it's just going to start, which you'll see in a second. It's just going to start at the top anyway without this area shown anyway. So it's not even going to be present. You can force it to be present, but we don't want to do that because of space. All right. So looking back here, we've got our design. And now we want to apply that across here and replace this gray area, if you will. Okay, so all we do is we upload the image to our website with Canva. Canva. I'm getting the names confused because Canvas and Canva are so close in name. But I highly recommend you download this in SVG format, so it's going to scale and look nice and crisp across all of the device sizes. Okay. So this is the exact settings I used, and I just click download and I've got my file, right? Then I uploaded the file to the site, and once that's in place, I jumped over here into WPCodeBox and into the single listings CSS package code snippet. This styles it specifically for the light mode version. And then I jumped into the dark mode version and did the same thing, but we'll just focus here on the light mode version. All right, so all we need is this code right here. And I've got it currently commented out, so I'm going to uncomment it out. And there we go. So quickly looking at the code, all we're saying here is we're using the class that MyListing already gives us, which is profile cover, no image. So it's saying if it's a listing type with no cover specified or it's set to none, like I showed you earlier, then this CSS is going to kick in those instances, okay? So all I'm saying here is let's call that image that I uploaded, that I created to the media library. We're going to do a background repeat of no repeat. So that's just, if you're not familiar with that, it's just sometimes you've seen like a small item in a graphic and it's just repeated across, horizontally or vertically. We're just saying don't do that in either direction. And then background position is centered. We're just centering the image on the screen. And then background size is cover. We're just stretching that to fit the viewport area. Okay, so that's all that is. Nothing super complex. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and save my code here, and we're just gonna refresh. And I will do, actually, I'm gonna duplicate this tab just so we can see a before and after. There we go. So here's our image in Canva. Getting the names confused. Here's our image in Canva. And here it is as it translates to the site. Pretty cool, right? And then you can go in here if you want, because it's an SVG file. And it's going to scale just like it's in the name, scalable vector graphics. It's in the name. So if we increase the size of this header area, this cover area, which my listing defaults to 350 pixels in this particular mode. As I increase this cover image size, we see here that the crispness is perfect. It's scaling, it's crisp, everything looks great. Doesn't matter how high you go, it's gonna look beautiful. All right, so up to you what size you want to leave that. I'm gonna leave it at the default 350. Most likely, so I think that looks pretty good. So the other thing too is, like I mentioned, and that's it. You don't have to mess with anything with a mobile or anything like that, because once you flip this over to a mobile device, whether it's the phone, as you see here, it's just right up at the top. It's exactly doing what you want it to do. It's just flush at the top, taking advantage of that space. And if we look at, say, an iPad, same thing. Flush at the top, don't have to worry about it. Once you get on laptops and desktops, that's when it comes into play. Okay. One last thing I wanted to show you is what if you wanted to assign cover images, different custom cover images to different listing types? Okay, I'm going to show you how you could do that. Let's take this, let's comment this out. Okay, so we're just taking that code, temporarily getting rid of that code. Okay, I'm going to come back here. I'm going to take this code. I'm going to create a new code snippet. This is all done by the magic of WPCodeBox, by the way. I'm going to create just a temporary code snippet here. We're going to set it to CSS, of type CSS. And I'm going to drop this in before I forget. Okay, so we have that code in there and we have it activated, but it's currently being applied. The default setting for WPCodeBox and CSS is to apply it to the front end of the whole site. You don't want to do that in most cases unless it's a code snippet that can be applied to your whole site globally. So you want to use the conditions builder in most cases to assign it to a specific part of the site for performance reasons. Okay, but anyway, so getting a little sidetracked on that. If I refresh this now, we're going to go back to the default look. Okay. I apologize. That's because, like I said, this is applying to the whole site. So let me just temporarily toggle this off. Now, if I refresh, we have no code that's applying that anywhere. It's just not happening, right? So what I want to show you is how you can assign a unique cover image to a specific listing type. All right. So if I toggle this back on, like I said, it's going to default to showing the entire, applying to the entire site, which in turn hits the single listings, right? Okay, because that's part of your entire site. So now what if we only wanted this to apply to the experts listing type? We would jump down here, and this is where one of the real magic pieces of WPCodeBox comes into play. We'll click on this open conditions builder. And we're going to say add group. All of these conditions are true. We're going to click add condition, and we're going to say current post type is job listing, which MyListing uses job listing as the post type for all listings. Okay. And we're going to say that this other condition must also be true for it to be applied. Page URL contains experts. Okay. And then where we get that from is when we click on the expert listing, we see here in the URL, I take that back, just expert. We see here in the URL that our listing type is expert. It's injecting that right into our permalink, our URL, okay? So let's put right there. So again, just to recap before I save this, both of these conditions must be true or this code snippet will not apply. It has to be a listing, and it has to have the word expert in the URL, okay? So let's save this. Actually, let's do this. Let's pretend I put experts in here, and then this should not work. Well, we'll just be really sure. Let's put business, okay? So if I save this and activate it, it should not apply to this expert listing type. The reason, well, it did. Well, it proved me wrong. Let's go back here to the conditions builder. All of these conditions are true. Current post type is, and the page URL contains business. That's interesting. Oh my gosh. It's like a total, I'm gonna go get a lottery ticket. Business financial is the category for this listing. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm gonna have to do something that's totally obscure. That was like winning the lottery. Okay. I'm just gonna put Ryan in here. Pretend we have a listing type named Ryan. Okay. This will not apply. If this does apply, I'm definitely buying a lottery ticket. There we go. Okay. So it didn't apply. So now let's say we do want this to apply only to the expert listing types. Let's go back into our conditions builder. Let's put in the word expert. Save. There we go. So now you can get your creative juices flowing, and you can say, if it's a business type of a listing, let's put a certain background on there. If it's more of a fun listing type, like a party or an event, maybe something more party oriented would fit. You just adjust the cover image based on I'm using air quotes here, like the theme of the listing, right? So yeah, hopefully this gets your creative juices flowing. And this is just in this particular case, again, where I showed you the cover background is set to none. A lot of people are often looking for ways to fill that space rather than just the color. But the same applies no matter how you do it. There's a reason why you have default cover image right here. This you have that fallback image in case a cover image isn't assigned to a listing, then you pre-populate it with a default cover image. You could get creative here, and you could assign, you could use WPCodeBox to assign different cover images based on whatever's in that URL. And like, think about it for a while, like all kinds of crazy stuff that you can do to make this dynamic and highly customizable and things like that. But the main meat and potatoes of this video was to show people, because I know this has been asked about, and I wanted to do it too for this starter site, was to fill this space with something, so it's not just that gray area. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this video, and I will catch you on the next one. See ya.